So our last two tabs here we'll go over together, which are the selector tabs. The bench selector here, we'll start off with the first option, spoil board milling. This is an option to be run during a spoil board milling program. What this does is it reduces the vacuum on the machine by about half in order to help with the ease of dust extraction when you're pulling the dust off the spoil board. Without running this option, what happens is dust will become compacted into the spoil board and reduce its ability, its airflow ability, basically reduce the suction on your workpiece. So every time you're doing a milling of the spoil board, make sure you have this option selected. We've got a bunch of other options that are used a little less often. Disable vacuum pump does exactly what it says, shutting off the vacuum pump during the run of the program. The only time I would recommend this is if you're clamping or nailing things down to the spoil board or phenolic in order to process. This can happen on very small workpieces that you want to work on, things that the vacuum would have a difficulty holding on to. That might be an option for that time. Enable cleaning cycle of the panel. What this will do is after a program has been run, the machine will come over and get into position to clean the top of the workpiece. So again, this is different from the clean table and the diagnostic tab in that it's going to clean above the workpiece and pull the dust from in between the cut paths. That one I would probably recommend to be enabled consistently for every program you run, so that you have a nice clean table to remove the parts from. This enable cleaning conveyor belt before unloading. This is not an option that's available on the machine now because that requires the offloading conveyor table, which isn't included with the machine here. Disable automatic unload panel. This is another one that needs to be selected every time you start the machine. What this is again, if you had the offloading table, once a machine is done the cut, it will do a clean, come back and push all of the material off onto the unloading table. Without the unloading table there, that's going to cause a pretty bad time in that all your work pieces are going to be pushed towards the fence, crashing and knocking things over, and best to be avoided, so make sure that this one is always selected. This end vacuum with pedal, this can be used along with vacuum always active and vacuum pump always active. What this will do is keep the vacuum engaged in between programs. You can select the end vacuum with pedal in order to disengage it and engage it as you like with the foot pedal, as opposed to it being automatically disengaged at the end of a program run. These functions are most usable when you're running multiple projects on the same worksheet. So either offsetting them onto separate portions of the same worksheet or applying 2 or 3 programs to the same profile, depending on how you do your programming, but that's when you would use those options. And then the last 2 options here, park machine if left area active, park machine if right area active. This sets up a different parking location depending on where the machine finished its work. So say we enabled park machine if right area active. What this would do is if the machine was finished working at the right side of the machine, it's going to follow our bar setting there to park the machine at whichever X location you've told it. So you can have them both set up to park on the left side or both set up to park on the right side, or with them off, it's always going to park back in the parking location there in the set point location. And then the general selector tab only has one option here, which is automatically enabled. This is enable movement with drills down. What this does is it allows the machine to move with the drill spindles fired in the down position. During normal operation, this is fine, but if you're ever using any kind of clamps or irregular workpieces where the workpiece may be taller in some areas than what you've programmed as your working thickness, this is not a good idea to have enabled, because you can very easily come across one of these areas with an extended drill bit and cause a crash. And those are your selector tabs.